In the wild and woolly days of 1872, when the American West was a swirling cocktail of gold rush dreams and get-rich-quick schemes, two Kentucky men walked onto the scene and pulled off one of the most audacious scams in history. Philip Arnold and John Slack, rumored to be cousins, they weren't, met during the Mexican-American War and forged a bond through hardship. They weren't miners, geologists, or even particularly clever jewelers, but they had an unmatched talent for spotting greed in others. Faced with hard lives and few opportunities, they saw a con as their ticket to an easier life. Armed with a sack of cheap gems and a pitch that would make a late-night infomercial blush, they fooled some of the wealthiest and most powerful men in America in what became known as the Great Diamond Hoax of 1872. This story has everything: a three-step guide to pulling off a con with outrageous lies, over-the-top sales tactics, and plenty of laugh-out-loud satire you won't want to miss. And it all wraps up with a timeless moral: when something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Step 1. Setting up the con and putting the bait on the hook. Arnold and Slack didn't just look like rough-hewn prospectors, they reeked of it. These two men, originally from Elizabethtown, Kentucky, strolled into San Francisco in 1871, looking like they'd just crawled out of a mud pit. Covered in dirt and clutching a pouch of uncut diamonds, they hadn't bathed in weeks and smelled like they'd been working harder than a mule on payday. It was the perfect camouflage for their plan. Their pitch? Simple yet irresistible. We've discovered a diamond field where you can literally pick gems off the ground. No digging, no sweating, just unimaginable riches waiting for the taking. It was like a gold rush with a BOGO deal, and William Ralston, founder of the Bank of California, couldn't resist. The diamonds they brought were real, but of such low quality they probably came with a no returns sticker. No one noticed or cared. The story of a mother lode hidden in Native American territory was too good to question. This wasn't just any diamond field, it was the geological equivalent of an all-you-can-eat buffet, and Ralston was first in line with his plate. Ralston quickly rallied his elite circle of investors, including General George McClellan and Horace Greeley, sharp, savvy, and supposedly too smart to be duped. But Arnold and Slack weren't just selling diamonds, they were selling dreams. To sweeten the deal, Arnold and Slack swore George Roberts, a prominent businessman, to secrecy. But Roberts, ever the chatterbox, did the exact opposite, spreading the news faster than a prospector on payday. Suddenly, investors were throwing money at Arnold and Slack, desperate for a piece of the action. With $50,000 in hand, the two men set out, not to their so-called diamond field, but to England, where they bought a bag of low-quality uncut stones for just $20,000. Their shared past in the Mexican-American War had taught them survival and resilience. Life had been tough, and this con was the easy way out they had been waiting for. Arnold and Slack returned to California richer, dirtier, and more confident than ever, ready to set the next stage of their audacious plan. Step 2. Slowly reel them in and then sprinkle some fairy dust on that shit. Arnold and Slack weren't just con artists, they were showmen. They knew the secret to selling wasn't just in the product, it was in the showmanship. Knowing their audience wouldn't buy a bag of rocks without a little razzle-dazzle, they pulled off the con equivalent of a limited-time TV offer. Armed with their budget gems, Arnold and Slack returned, spinning tales of incredible success. They salted their so-called diamond field, a patch of land near Black Butte, Wyoming, with diamonds, rubies, sapphires, and, strangely, pearls. Yes, pearls, in Wyoming. Nobody questioned it. When the investors insisted on seeing the field for themselves, the cousins not cousins staged a theatrical 4-day horseback journey, complete with frequent lost moments to confuse their audience. Finally, The investors were unleashed into the field, where they discovered precious stones by the handfuls. It was the ultimate Easter egg hunt, with Arnold and Slack basking in the glow of their brilliance and their investors' greed. But wait, there's more! They brought in Henry Janin, a respected mining engineer who took one look at the glittering dirt and declared, "It's real." And just like an infomercial host throwing in free steak knives, Arnold and Slack upped the ante by allowing their investors to send a sample of gems to Charles Tiffany of Tiffany & Co. Tiffany, usually the guy who knows a real gem from a glass bead, misjudged the rough stones and put his stamp of approval on them. This was the equivalent of a celebrity endorsement gone wrong. If you buy in now, not only do you get the diamond field of your dreams, but you'll also get rubies and sapphires absolutely free. Arnold and Slack's investors, blinded by greed, fell harder than a slip and slide demonstration gone wrong. Step 3. Keep them on the hook and then take them for a ride. With their pockets full of investor cash, $600,000 in 1872 money, or about $10 million today, Arnold and Slack went all in on their production. When they brought their investors to the diamond field, the businessmen were thrilled to see jewels scattered everywhere. They didn't stop to ask why diamonds, rubies, and sapphires, gems that never occur together naturally, were coexisting like roommates in a bad sitcom. The investors couldn't throw their money at the con men fast enough. It was a feeding frenzy of greed, with everyone eager to claim their share of what they believed was the richest diamond field in the world. It didn't matter that the field was essentially a craft store display in disguise. They were hooked. Step 4. Wait it out as the con unravels. Enter the skeptic. Wait, that's not how nature works. Not everyone was dazzled by the glitter. Enter Clarence King, a Yale-educated geologist conducting surveys in the area. King, the human version of customer reviews, smelled something fishy about the so-called diamond field. When he arrived at the site, it didn't take long for him to notice that gems had been sprinkled on the ground like Parmesan on a pizza. Digging deeper, literally, King found nothing but dirt. His report not only exposed the field as a fraud, but also made the investors look like they'd fallen for the QVC of scams. The fallout. But I thought this was a good deal. On November 25, 1872, the San Francisco Chronicle exposed the hoax in spectacular fashion, running headlines like, "Unmasked, the Great Diamond Fiasco." The titans of industry and politics, Ralston, McClellan, Greeley, became national laughingstocks, proving that no one is too rich or too smart to fall for a well-polished lie. Arnold and Slack, meanwhile, disappeared faster than an infomercial spokesperson after the product recall. Arnold was eventually tracked down in Kentucky, where he agreed to return a small fraction of the money. Slack, ever the enigma, vanished completely, possibly to sell caskets or start a pyramid scheme in St. Louis. The twist. The real winner? The con man. Here's the kicker. Philip Arnold, the mastermind, used his stolen fortune to become a respected banker in Kentucky. Meanwhile, Clarence King, the hero of the story, lived modestly despite exposing one of the greatest cons of all time. The lesson: in the late 1800s, it paid more to salt a diamond field than to save one. The legacy of the hoax. Shiny lies, empty pockets. The Great Diamond Hoax of 1872 is more than a story of greed. It's a timeless reminder that if something looks too good to be true, it probably is. Arnold and Slack didn't just sell gems. They sold hope in a pouch, packaged like an infomercial with a limited time offer that no one wanted to miss. So, what's the greatest con you've ever heard of? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories of wild schemes, epic fails, and history's most ridiculous. But wait, There's more. Moments. In the wild and woolly days of 1872, when the American West was a swirling cocktail of gold rush dreams and get-rich-quick schemes, two Kentucky men walked onto the scene and pulled off one of the most audacious scams in history.